Hi, I'm Grace.
And I'm Nichole.
And we are students at PFW in the Music Industry program.
Thanks for tuning into the first episode of our Women in Music Industry podcast.
In this episode, we interviewed Jes Hogan, who is the Regional Tour and Promotion Manager for Elektra Records. She works with artists like Paramore, Slipknot, 21 Pilots, Kelly Clarkson, and more.
We hope you enjoy this first episode and tune in for more episodes soon.
Hi there. Hello.
Hi, girls.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. We're hanging in there. Yeah. So I'm Grace, as you know, we met before, and this is Nichole.
Hi, Grace. Hi, Nichole.
Hi. So we're just students in the music industry program at Purdue University, Fort Wayne, and we're just kind of trying to get like some more information and spread awareness about like being a woman in the industry and like what to experience as a woman in the industry and how to get your foot in the door and stuff like that.
All right. Well, I hope I can help a little bit.
I'm sure you can. So I guess to start, if you want to just give us like a quick introduction and then some background about what you do and maybe even some names you've worked with.
Sure. So my name is Jes Hogan, and I work for Elektra Music Group, which is a sister company to Atlantic Records, which is a record label that a lot of people are aware of. And I've been with the company, it'll be 6 years in June. And I just truly love it. And let's see, what else? I went to Purdue as well, and I graduated with a communications degree, which I feel, helped for sure. But in this industry, I think it's kind of a learn as you go type of industry. So skills that I learned in school and, kind of through the ways of life have brought me here. But this is definitely a moving parts job, and you learn as you go.
So did you imagine yourself actually going into the music industry, or were you going for something else?
I did, for as long as I can remember, I wanted to work in the music industry. Even when I was a teenager, I worked at Sam Goody. If you guys are probably too young to even know what that is, but they were mall record stores. So I started off there when I was 16 years old, and I knew that I always kind of wanted to stay in the music industry. It just always intrigued me. I was that person that was making, this will really show my age, but I was making mixtapes. And then when CDs were out, I was doing like the mix CDs. I was always that friend that was kind of sharing new music and doing that kind of stuff. In college, definitely was involved in the whole Napster and sharing, and just really loved that whole aspect of music and getting new names out to people. Mm-hmm. So yeah, definitely something I always wanted to do for sure.
Now it's all about playlist making for your friends. Yeah,
right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It shows my age. Like, I think now, obviously, you would make a playlist on Spotify, share it with your friends. You have all sorts. Oh my gosh, I would have all sorts of categories at this point for sure. That would be. I wish that was around when I was. It would have been so much easier.
Has that been intimidating for you, seeing the rapid evolution of the music industry? Do you ever feel like you're going to kind of get left behind with that?
Yeah, I think we all do, right? So a main part of my job is I work with radio stations in a territory, and I try to get new music out to radio. So when you flip to your local radio station, whether it's a college station or just like a local iHeart, Cumulus, anything around the area, my job is to get our artists that we have signed with the labels to get played on the radio. And not only to get played on the radio, but to get played a lot on the radio. Our goal is to obviously always have songs go into what we call a power rotation. So yeah, do I think about if that's going to go away? I do, because you always have that thought in your mind of, will people stop listening to radio? Will they just go to streaming? Will it just be Spotify or Apple or Pandora?
Right.
But I think there's always going to be a market for radio, and hopefully, if that's the case, then I will continue to always have a job. But
right.
People always want to hear new music, and they want to get new music, and oddly enough, radio is still the number one place they go to. So that works for us.
Yeah, very true.
What are there any names that we might recognize that you might have worked
Sure,
with?
as bands that I work with.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I work with all different genres of bands. So, kind of coming into this, you have to be very open-minded with everything because you may end up working a record or a band that you're not familiar with or that you truly is one of your core artists. But it also helps you kind of learn a little bit more and open up who you thought maybe you liked a lot. I've worked with bands as, big as 21 Pilots. Slipknot and Korn in the active rock world are huge for us. I go from, bands like that to, I worked with Kelly Clarkson. Right now we're working with All Time Low. We're working with Grandson over on the alternative side. Corey Taylor from the lead singer of Slipknot, he's releasing self-released music. So we're working with him. I've worked with Paramore, Panic at the Disco. There's a bunch of great ones, which we're really excited about, and a lot of new stuff coming too, which, it's always fun to have those big names that people know of. But then another exciting part of my job is I get to introduce you to newer acts that are hitting the scenes, which is so much fun. So
Right.
Yeah.
always revolving.
Do you get a lot of like one-on-one exposure with artists, or are you kind of more behind the scenes and stuff?
It depends on the artist, to be honest with you. I think, a big part of my job, which was affected, hugely because of COVID, was the travel and the shows. A lot of the times our jobs require us to be like the liaison between the artists and whatever sort of promotion we're doing at shows. So that could be like interviews with radio or meet and greets with fans. So in that case, I do have a lot of interaction with the artists because I'll kind of set them up with what we're doing for the day, and kind of chat with them. But some artists are, just a little bit more closed than others. They just want to relax and chillax, and you kind of, do your thing, and they're super nice. But everybody I work with is amazing. And literally, I can't even tell you, I've never had one problem with anybody. It's so much fun.
That's nice.
Yeah. You're kind of living our dream right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was saying that, and I was like, man,
I make it sound really, it is really, really fun, but there's a lot of work that goes into it as well. A lot of the times, we're, getting a new artist out there. Well, you guys know, you listen to Spotify, you hear new things, sometimes it's really hard to kind of get those names out there, but we do our best to, stay positive and, really try to convince you guys that this is the next best thing coming,
Yeah. That's kind of part of why we wanted to start like this podcast kind of interview thing, just to talk about how with women, how they kind of have to be a little bit more hungry for it. They got to work a little bit harder. And we're seeing that as students in the music industry as like a very much a minority. It's in our major, definitely way more male led.
Very true.
Sure. I think that, this industry alone, I felt was difficult. It's kind of difficult to get into. I did 10 years at radio in my 20s and going into my 30s. And I just started to gain relationships with other labels. I started to kind of, when we did artist interactions on the radio side, when we did shows or small performances, I just started to learn a little bit more about those. And I started to take initiative a little bit more when we were doing those. And that kind of led me to where I am now, to this side, but it definitely was hard work. I think that a lot of people in our industry, because we love what we do, we try to stay here for as long as we can. But it's ever evolving, which is also a really, really great thing for you guys, because I feel that moving forward, there's going to be more positions and things are going to open up when it comes to streaming and A&R stuff and finding new artists. And I just think it's going to continue to grow. I don't think that it's going anywhere. I think that it's going to get bigger, which is going to be great for you guys, because coming into this, you're going to be super knowledgeable on the newest things that are going on, like I feel like I'm still learning TikTok and like SoundCloud and all these things, whereas you guys coming in are going to be like, yes, I know all this. So definitely growing for sure.
It's definitely crazy. It's definitely crazy how like artists on TikTok just blow up overnight too.
Insane. And we're dealing with that too. And that's definitely a new thing that our team is learning. I was actually just on a program right now, kind of looking at the interaction between one of our artists and what they're doing on TikTok. And it's just crazy. It's crazy how one video can just blow up and just change somebody's life, you know?
For sure. For sure. We're going to move on. So what do you do to handle high stress situations? Do you think, like, what is your best, like, go-to to kind of just take the punches as they come, you know?
Yeah. So there's a lot of high stress situations. I mean, especially when we're out on the road and with touring, you know, you can have your plan laid out and you can have all of your notes and you can have all of your timeline set up and things are going to happen. And I think the best way that I try to handle it is I try to be honest. I try to be sincere when I'm talking with people. I'm definitely one of those reps that people that work out that I love talking with listeners and winners and fans. It's probably one of my favorite parts of the job. So I like to just be honest. I like to be calm. And then when it comes to, like, you know, stress stuff at home, it's good to take a step back. You know, you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days and you're going to do something wrong that you regret. You're going to send a note to someone that you regret. And you just need to take a step back and realize that it was a mistake and that you need to move forward and that there are a lot of other things going on and moving parts that maybe you can or can't control. And you just figure out what you can control and you use your team. You know, I have a great team behind me. So if I get stressed out or upset, I call somebody on my team and we talk it out, and maybe they tell me a funny story that happened to them and I'm not the only one that something happened to. So yeah, I think that having a good team is definitely helpful.
So you mentioned going out on the road and touring and stuff. Has your team done a lot of the like online virtual concert kind of stuff? Have you been dealing with that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. Gosh, when COVID hit, it was like one of the biggest things that we had to change and adapt to. You know, I remember the first Zoom meet and greet I did, and it was so awkward. And, you know, I felt like I was in a Zoom room and I was on, you know, off camera and just watching the interaction, kind of how we look today, like an artist and fans. And it was just different. Mm-hmm. And now we've done so many of them that it's just another nature for us. It's easy. And we have some great artists who love just even talking with their fans and finding out what their fans are doing, which is great. It's super cool. But yeah, we've definitely resorted a lot to virtual shows. You know, I thought that was pretty cool that we're selling tickets to virtual shows. Mm-hmm. Grandson, one of our artists, gosh, he did a really cool thing where he did like this virtual movie kind of show. It was awesome, where he performed all of his songs on his upcoming album. And it was just blew my mind. It's so crazy how these artists are so smart and they figure out with our team and with, you know, the artist development team, how they can continue to move forward. You know, they're not just going to sit around. They're going to figure out how they can do the next best thing, how they can do a live stream, how they can connect with their fans. And it's been so crazy to learn and just adapt over these past couple months and over the year, I guess I can say now.
Right. Unfortunately.
I know, right? And, you know, for right now, we're going to continue doing that, you know, until we're all able to get together and be safe again. You know, we're going to continue to do streams and people kind of dig it, which I like. It's kind of fun.
So clearly there's a big hunger for live music in the industry and everybody's ready to get back to shows and everything. But do you think, since a lot of companies have invested so much time and money and resources in this virtual realm of live music, do you think that a lot of it will continue through, like, after COVID?
Sure. I think that touring is I mean, everybody's so excited to get out on the road and get going again. But I think what COVID and what the virtual stuff has done is kind of changed the thinking of how we release things or how we move forward with things and how things are presented. I think it's changed. And I think that we will, instead of, releasing music, getting out there, getting on the road and doing a show, I think that we'll step back and say, hey, what differences can we make? What changes can we make to the live show? Is it something maybe we can stream for fans that can't be there? Just all sorts of new technology out there that's just coming left and right that I think you're going to start to see incorporated into live shows, which will be,
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to another topic. How did you get like your foot in the door, like really build yourself like opportunities? Like, is there anything like a specific moment that stands out to you?
Oh gosh, I mean, it was I can't think of a specific moment that stood out to me, but as I kind of mentioned before, I knew I always wanted to be in music, so I kind of stuck with it. I mean, when I left college and I was looking for jobs, I was like, I want radio. I want to do something that I knew was going to stick with what I learned in college and then what I wanted to do for the future. So I just grinded, working in radio was hard, and I did it for 10 years. And, it was a hard decision to decide to come to this side, not only because it was something new to me, but I had to move to a new state. I had to leave my friends and my family and everybody to kind of start this whole new job and this whole new life. And it was really, really hard, but got over it and started to figure out how much I loved it here. And I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and I love it here. Right in the middle of all my territory, which is great. But yeah, it's a struggle every day. I'm still learning. I'm still a newbie in this area. I've only been here for 6 years. There are counterparts of mine that have been doing this job for 15 to 20 years. So, like I said, there's so many more mistakes to be made and so many more things to learn every day. But yeah, it was a grind to get here. And I would just tell any of you guys that are trying to do it is stick with what you're doing and continue to learn about the music industry and continue to grow and continue to stay educated with the new upcoming technology. And then, as far as getting your foot in the door, there's all sorts of internships and opportunities that will maybe start at a smaller, like a lower level that you would grow to. I know that we've had some amazing assistants in our lives with this company that have grown to do some amazing things, maybe within the company and or with management companies of bands. So that's super cool. But yeah, you just have to be willing to take that leap and kind of grow in that situation.
So do you think you've been met with any greater obstacles than anybody else just because you were a woman in the industry?
I feel very lucky. It's hard to answer that. I feel very lucky because I feel like I haven't been faced with a lot of negative situations as a woman in the industry. I think that a couple of women ahead of me have paved the way for that.
Right.
We have some great women in our company that have really, really shined, and I look to them every day. In fact, within Elektra, we have a Women of Elektra, which I love being a part of. And we get together like once a quarter, so once every 3 months. And someone else will present like a presentation about what they do in the company and what their team is involved with. And it's always so fascinating to me. And I love that. And we actually just started that last year. And it's probably one of my favorite things that I love in the company because it really helps us grow as women in the industry and it helps me feel like accepted and wanted here. I don't feel opposed. I don't feel that I'm looked down on. I feel that my opinion matters and that it counts. And yeah, you learn, I definitely feel coming into the job. I remember working on the active rock side a lot and feeling like, oh, I'm just this young girl working a Slipknot show. It was really interesting. But, the more I started to appreciate the format and the more I started to learn about the bands, the more I felt accepted and loved. And I've never looked back. Like, I love it. I don't feel any sort of I love working with those guys. They're actually a lot of active rock bands that tend to look very scary, tend to be the nicest people you know.
Right. I feel like that's definitely.
Yeah, I've been very lucky. I mean, in terms of your questions, I wish I could give you a better answer on something, but I feel very, very lucky to be a woman in this industry and to not feel that I've had a lot of look down upon or negativity.
I feel like that's definitely comfortable for us to hear that, because there are definitely moments where we feel like we're not being taken seriously just because, I mean, especially I don't play any instruments or anything. So that definitely makes me feel like not taken seriously, but also additionally just being a woman. And like, I feel like for us, sometimes we just have to put in that little extra oomph. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that it could be intimidating. You know, I know that I was intimidated for a little bit coming into this because you're working with a lot of program directors at radio stations who are male, who have been there for a long time and have their opinions. You're working with a lot of males in this industry who have been working around for a lot of, and then you come in as a young female and you do feel a little intimidated. But, you know, I learned, I listened, I learned, I regained focus. I figured out what makes this guy tick? What can I figure out to do to make this? You know, maybe I'm not going in there as bubbly as I want to. Maybe I'm just figuring out what information he's looking for. And the more that I learned about each individual person and the more that I kind of grew knowing our artists and what I was delivering, the easier it became.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you asked what I was going to ask. So.
Oh,
Well, our last couple of things were any kind of advice, but you've given us plenty of advice.
I hope so. I mean, this industry is so much fun and I truly, truly love it. And like I said, I think one of my favorite parts of when I do, meet and greets, or interviews with people is I love seeing everybody so excited. And it makes me so happy, when we're working with Tyler and Josh from 21 Pilots and, their fans are lined up for like 3 or 4 days. I walk into a show and I'm like, oh, like it makes me tear up. It gets me so excited just, because I've known those guys for so long and it never gets old. And I think that if you just appreciate it and you don't take anything for granted, and you just continue to learn and grow, it just never gets old. It's always so exciting. And I hope that sticks around for a while. And I hope people are excited to go to shows coming up because, once live music comes back, there's going to be so much. You guys are going to have, no one's going to have any money because we're all going to be buying concert tickets. Like,
for sure.
We're all going to be broke again because we're all going to be buying concerts. I know for sure I'm buying concert tickets to all of my favorite artists. So it is going to be awesome. And I think it's just going to be alive and it's going to be awesome.
Well, it's just really refreshing to hear from like another woman be so passionate about something we're really passionate about and really excited to be a part of. And it's just, thank you for talking to us. And it was just very refreshing.
I feel nervous. Like I've never really talked to anybody about all this stuff. So it's kind of fun, just to share a little bit about what I did and, hopefully help you guys a little bit. And
definitely,
hope someone out there is kind of thinking, yeah, I want to stick with it. I want to keep going. And it's going to be a grind and it's going to take a while and it's not going to happen your first year. And, you may have to be an intern and you may have to drive a crazy radio truck around for a while, but you'll get there, if it's truly your passion and you want to stick with music, you'll definitely get there.
I love that.
Yeah. That's like very reassuring.
Yeah.
We're both just so hungry and we just want it so bad, and we're just so excited just to put ourselves in there, and just do whatever it takes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just,
you guys are already a step ahead by doing something like this. It's awesome.
Yeah, especially with all the opportunities that are out there today that definitely weren't around, even 10 years ago.
Yeah, of course. And like I said, just staying up on top of all the new technology and everything out there. I mean, it's just going to continue growing. TikTok was 2020. What's going to happen in 2021? Who knows? And what new system out there is going to make the next big superstar? Who knows? It's just, there's always more elevation to everything.
Right. Well, thanks so much for talking with us. We really appreciate you taking the time to do this with us.
Of course, it was really fun. Thanks for reaching out. I hope I was able to help a little bit.
Definitely,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Thank you. You have a
All
great
right.
day.
All right, ladies, we'll talk again soon. Have a good one.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.